As I often do, I made a long video last night on the way home from Mohawk. And I hate doing videos at night anyway because it just looks bad. But as I often do, I'll go back and I'll just revisit some of the topics, some of the points I made in the video, just to make sure I'm striking the right chord, right? Are you saying what you're trying to say? Are you just rambling on? And at the end of the day, there's no point in having a depressing video, but when the highlight of the night is a fifth in the non-winners of 12, pretty tough to find silver linings there. We started off the day, me waking up after a pretty rough night. And then I had talked to everybody about no free lunch. Many of you may have looked up on the system and saw swimming for 4 weeks. Well, no free lunch jogged great yesterday, looked great yesterday, and was put away great. The issue being that he's always carried a little heat in his left front leg. I forgot about this a little bit. And he was on the cross ties yesterday, and I talked to Harry. I said, I wonder what that ever was with his leg. He said, we've had it looked at a couple of times. It's never ever bothered him. But it does blow up once in a while, and it is hot. So, put the ultrasound on it. The vet was there. We put the ultrasound on it. And there is like a dark spot there. So, it's not really revealing from an ultrasound standpoint. What is it? What is it not? It's not new. It's not something that, clearly it's not something that bothers him that much. But when you have a horse that is coming quarters in 25-2, pacing in 49.50, and being a real player in what's the open right now, I have to believe that the bolts better be on those tires pretty tight, or something that's not anything, something that's very minor, may become something a little more major really quickly. And I had touched on it in a few other videos and rambled a bit about it last night about the weather, right? It's January the 17th, I believe. By this point, we've already had some pretty frigid weather. I've debated going to buy electric gloves and electric boots to train in the morning. James and I, one year, had electric boots, bought both of us before Christmas. I don't like the electric gloves. They don't work good. The hot paws work just as good. I've never had to do that this year. Only a couple of days my hands were really cold, or my feet were really cold, which is rare. I don't remember ever having such a mild winter. And again, we're getting closer to the end of January. As I come to the burn, a day we were going to train all the babies because James is going away on a vacation tomorrow. I'm going to Ohio this afternoon. We wanted to train the babies just slow miles today. Can't do that when it's raining. And that underscores exactly what is going on right now. And I think where our injuries are coming from. Not when it comes to good as him. Obviously, he fractured his foot, put a line in his foot. And that was on one of those freezing cold days on a hard track the first day of Miami Valley. When you look at Hone the Tone, the injury he sustained, was training in the mud. And you have to race in the mud, so I'm not blaming anybody. This is what you have to do. But the weather itself, we have winter corks that are good for minus 20, 30, gripping, very icy, hard conditions, and then +2 in rain. There's a reason we don't wear all this cork on the horses in the summer, because they don't need it, and it can be detrimental. And I believe that's probably part and parcel to why No Free Lunch's leg gets a little warm from time to time. So, in his particular case, it's pretty simple. Just going to be a little proactive. We're probably going to swim him for a month. They might inject that area that was showing as black. It could be the start of a tiny hole, but the fact that it's been there forever and that he was one. I watched the horse with my own two eyes jog yesterday. 100% sound, and Harry is super meticulous about the horse's soundness and what they're doing with them. He said the horse is great. He's fantastic. And I don't doubt him. He's right. But this horse is probably a little nagging injury that's always been there, aggravated maybe a little bit by these tracks. Unbeatable Kemp. Again, that line that we talked about in his knee, the one thing that I found most interesting about the entire conversation with Dr. McKee was the fact that she believed that this was there for a long time. Something aggravated it. That was her words. See, Then you had the issue, which is a little more run-of-the-mill for Absolute Euphoria. A little line in a very young 3-year-old, really at the end of her 2-year-old career, is not shocking, especially when these are the exact knees that pushed her into some field time in the summer. And I'm not worried about those. We nipped them in the bud. It's not like the horses are crippled walking around. Just that ever so slight, you can see it, that little wrinkle in them. We took her to the races, warmed her up on race night, and I was on my way home from Ohio. I said, James, would you do me a favor? Could you warm up Absolute Euphoria last trip? And if there is any hint of soreness at all, scratch her. Just ask Cindy to scratch her. And that's what they did. It's no problem. She was coughing also, but I think the coughing was maybe secondary to what else was going on. None of those issues are serious. The good as him is. He's going to be off till probably fall of 2023. And you know what? At the end of the day, it happened. The bone will heal. The horse will be fine. He'll race again. Just have to take care of him properly. A little bit different in No Free Lunch's case. We got a glimpse into what could be, what might. And it was very simple. We filed it under where there's smoke, there could be fire. Let's put that smoke and fire out. That's exactly what we're doing. So there's no real issue at hand with No Free Lunch. Everything that the vet saw yesterday has been there for quite a while and has been worked on and mitigated by Harry's caretakers and Harry himself, just managing the horse properly and working with him properly. So this is more being proactive, where a lot of the other stuff we're talking about over the last couple of weeks is very reactionary, right? The line found, the line in Absolute Euphoria's knee, the line in Unbeatable Kemp's knee, what happened with Home the Tone, what happened with Good as Him. This is all reactionary stuff. But not with Lunch. So I think it's important that we clearly are to everybody, not just my partners as I did yesterday, but to everybody about this. Now, when it comes to what is going on with the tracks, with these injuries, I believe it's 100% weather causing these track conditions. If we had a solid track, a hard track with ice and snow from the middle of December straight through to March, I don't think we're talking about any of these injuries right now because the horses are racing. And they've been racing so good. It's frustrating when you have 3 or 4 injuries in 1 week. It's really, really frustrating because I'm left. It causes a lot of sleepless nights where I'm left saying, did I miss something? Did we make a mistake with these horses? And when I look at the injury after injury after injury, these 3 or 4 horses, no, I don't think we did. In fact, we did very right by all of them, especially No Free Lunch. So we started the day with, or I guess the middle of the day was the No Free Lunch episode, which is okay. I'm fine with that. I'd rather not race on this track right now with a horse like him anyway. I think you're just poking the bear, to be honest. We went to the track, 2 horses in. I don't know it's happened ever very often to us where we had 2 horses in together and they both made a break. It's almost like White Tiger made a break and Resolute Bay went, oh, that looks fun, and just rolled off. There was no particular reason for it. I was just letting him do his work. I was going to coast him over into the 4-hole. The last time I saw him make a break like that, actually, James was also moving to the left down the lane in that race where he kind of shoved him through the middle. And more than likely, what we saw last night was more just probably a maintenance issue, maybe an ankle bothering him or a knee. But when I look at the overall picture with him also, we've talked about this quite extensively. We are not going to push the envelope. We are going to let the horses tell us when they need a rest. And when I look at what's ahead for Resolute Bay, yes, there are 2 very different trains of thought. A portion of me is, as I said, make hay when the sun shines. Well, it's not shining right now. And the other one is, we do have a 4-year-old season ahead for this horse and other horses. Do we take this as an invitation to maybe give him a month off? We did this when Renegade Gypsy tied up. There was no need to continue on, especially when it's going to take a good 2 or 3 weeks to get him back to good. Why not use that time as field time, which we did. When it comes to Resolute Bay, a little bit different. I think as I look, the veterinarian just pulled in to another burn. But, we could probably do the same stuff to Resolute Bay we did last time, and boom, away he goes. But could this time be used better? Because I don't care how tough he is and how sharp he is now. Eventually, he's got to run out of gas. Eventually, he's got to get tired. in a perfect world, if there's no, and everybody keeps talking about this Ontario 4-year-old graduate. I need everybody to understand one thing. Twinbee Archie and those horses are still around, right? The gold horses from last year. And yes, Renegade Gypsy and Resolute Bay are good. They've been good. They've proven they're good. But they've never beat the likes of Twinbee Archie in safe conduct in those horses. They will be ready for that 4-year-old graduate. There are no, oh my God, Resolute Bay's here. Just write the check out to them and we'll just race the races of formality. Don't kid yourself. It's going to be tough sledding. Having said that, I'm not that concerned also because they've already beaten the horses they're going to race against. They've already raced against those middle condition horses and proved that they can beat them. So my concern, I'm not really concerned about any of our 4-year-olds that we've coming back because they've already proven what we generally would be interested in finding out. Can they race against these other horses? Well, we already know because they've beaten them. So I don't really have any concerns in that regard. So there is a little pull and a little push in my mind when it comes to Resolute Bay, Looks Like Money, those horses. When is it an appropriate time to turn them out? And I think last night wasn't the first time we saw this, and last night can be mitigated pretty easily. Do we use that time now? And I think, given the fact that he's already beaten a number of those horses, I suspect, it's probably fair to the horse to turn him out just for a month. And I do like that a little bit more. We've always changed some things about the way we do things. Before it was how's everything? Doing a little video here.
Great. No, great. That's good thing I didn't answer.
Yeah. I was just telling everybody a little video about no free lunch. I was talking, maybe we'll bring them up to Melissa's. Because we can always put platelets in there and it can speed that up too, right?
Absolutely. She said just leave him, but he's not even lame. I never took lame stuff yet.
Well, that's what I said. I saw him jog yesterday. The horse was sound.
Yeah.
So maybe just put platelets in there and give him a week, make sure it's healed up, and swim him until ultrasound's perfect.
Yeah.
Like I said to James last night, it's nobody's fault. We've had injuries all week. It's this track. It's not this track. It's these tracks.
Yeah.
We have them all corked for -20. Yeah. It's +1. It's raining right now. It's not good for the horses. So I said to James, if it's going to be +2, we'll just wait and race them in March when there's no corks. Especially a horse like No Free Lunch, right? Yeah. And even like the red horse last night. You and I both know it's been 6 weeks since he made that break on James, or 8 weeks. Probably a little maintenance, but now's probably the time to give him a month. Give him a time now.
Well, absolutely, it was time to get it injected all over. But like, if you're going to turn him out.
Yes, and I told everybody. I've been telling everybody right now. The horse, I've always said it. The horse will tell us when they need a rest. We can patch him up, but to what extent? Give him a month now, have the horse ready for that stake race in April. And the one thing that we didn't have before that we have now is...
Don't give him a month. You got to get back and get him a couple of starts under stuff.
Yes. All right. But I mean, at the end of the day, what they've already proven, Renegade Gypsy, the red horse, definitely Looks Like Money, is that they can beat the horses that we didn't know before in past years. We don't know if they can beat them. Well, now we do. We know they can beat them.
Oh, I agree.
Anyway, Locatelli's coming home tomorrow. We can turn out Locatelli, Resolute Bay, White Tiger also. I want to tell everybody, none of these horses pulled up lame after, but James says White Tiger's on the right line too, finishing up. Listen,
they don't run.
They're
so
too
they run
fast. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that they're too fast to say, he'll be all right next week.
No, they're two good horses.
And that's it.
They've got the money on the card too. It's not like they
100%. Anyway, I'll be in a second. So I wanted to stop and talk to Harry about No Free Lunch, and we're on the same page 100% when it comes to him. I want to bring Locatelli home also. I don't know if he's tired, but if he is, I'm partially to blame for that. Just 2 butchered trips, and another horse. If HB Mama B is going to have a rest because they can't fill the preferred, fine, okay. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but there's tons of racing for Locatelli. He's a co-track record holder at Mohawk. He's already proven he can do it. And he's only going to get better. So, Locatelli, No Free Lunch. And this sucks. And this leads into where I was going with this video also, is we have to stop. We don't have to, but we are going to stop with Locatelli. White Tiger, going to give him a month also. Resolute Bay, it sounds like Harry's only angling for 3 weeks. But this is why I wanted to stop and talk to Harry. A couple of items that him and I want to table and talk to him about. So Locatelli, probably going to give him 3 weeks off, also 3-4 weeks. Resolute Bay, White Tiger, no free lunch. Now, we did the right thing. All 4 of those horses are going out. They're unharmed. They're not hurt. But we do want to freshen them up and let their joints cool down. And again, get them off this track right now. And that poses a problem. That's the major portion of our order, right? What do we got left? Sintra. Looks like Money for the time being. At some point, we're going to have to rest him also. Now, his graduate comes up in June, so we can race him a little bit, as long as he wants to also. So where does that leave us? A big hole in our order. So what I wanted to end what I ended the video last night with was talking about how important this sale is, and it's important for a number of reasons. One, we haven't been able. Yes, HP Maestro's been helpful. Yes, Stonebridge Acadi racing good recently. Dustin Hanover. These help because we can maneuver these horses around, but they aren't Locatelli. They aren't No Free Lunch. They aren't Resolute Bay. They aren't White Tiger. There's 4 major players in our order that we were going to lose, and I knew this was coming, right? This was the whole point. The Meadowland sale was slated for yesterday. That would have been good timing. You know what we're going to give? We're going to rest these 4, killers, but we bought 2 or 3 horses, and a couple of them look like they're going to be very talented. Now, I'm extremely optimistic about what we can do. I see our name list now is up over 52 clients that want to be a part of buying horses. Now, I would suspect what I'm looking to do is spend somewhere around $250,000 to buy 1, maybe 2 horses. And that might sound like a lot, but I would love to have a freshened up horse. And that's the beauty at the Meadowland sale, is because a lot of these horses that were 3 or 4, they got that rest. They got that 6 weeks off. They got trained back, and they're qualified on January 9th and in the January 16th sale. Those are the horses we need, right? Ours aren't super fresh right now, especially after the last 3-4 weeks they've had on these tracks. I can see it. You guys can see it. That's why those horses were important. For us to move some of the horses that are showing they're just not going to be stable horses. And you guys know this. We have over 130 or 40 horses. You know there are horses that just aren't going to make it. They're just not going to be horses for us. Silent Assassin is qualifying tomorrow. Probably not going to remain a stable horse for a long time. You know, I talk about the horses that are training in Columbus. They need to show more. And every year we get people saying, oh, we just have to get them in the races and let them try and do their work. And that's just not always realistic, right? They need to show something along the way. I had a wonderful conversation. And you know what? I think when all this stuff is going on, I'm a little stressed also. And I know that some people will send me emails, and I may just send back short remarks. And I don't want you to think that I'm dismissing what you're saying, or I'm being curt with you, because, well, actually I am. It's just because there's a lot going on, and I get a question, I want to answer it, and then later on I think to myself, there's a bit of a dick comment. And I'm left feeling like I shortchanged you on what could have been a very fair conversation. And I didn't want anybody to think that, I do it, you do it, everybody does. You get this email that's short or to the point, and you take it as blunt and potentially rude. And that isn't my intention. It's never my intention to be rude with anybody. And if that's the way it's taken, my sincere apology. That was not the way it was meant. This year with stake payments, this is the most stressful time for me, is making these stake payments, trying to find the right path forward, trying to not waste money, but not be too frugal and cheap with their staking, especially when we bought world-class pedigrees. I'm trying to do the best I can, and it's extremely stressful right now for me, and I want to make sure that I do it right. And when I wake up and I have 15 emails from people, I just want to get through them, and sometimes they don't get the proper time and care that maybe they need. So I apologize if you're one of those people. I did have a conversation with somebody in regards to Oh My Gosh yesterday. They said a very well-bred colt, if I'm not mistaken, trained in 2-4. You qualified him, he was too big, you turned him out, brought him back. All of what you said is correct. But when you're training him down, and he's just being, and this is not exactly what he's being like. I haven't sat behind him. I'm going on what Aaron says. We need to get some heavier training in him. You're right. But when you get down and you start training him quarters in 35 seconds, you tap him on the tail, he switches his tail and pins his ears and doesn't want to do his work. The indicators are there that he's not going to be very cooperative, that he's not going to be an effective horse. That doesn't mean that he won't be, because we have had horses that are the exact same way. You tap Locatelli on the tail, and although he'll pick up speed, he'll pin his ears and switch his tail too. You can draw similarities, but at the end of the day, there has to be substance there. So again, I'm left building a constant list, horses that could be moved. And I'll number them. And there's 7 of them right now. I'm not going to go into what the 7 are. 7 horses that I'm watching. And if they force our hand to a point where you're like, they're just not doing their work well, or I've gone with them and they're not doing their work well. Silent Assassin, I think, has ability, maybe not as much as I like, but a little more than she's exhibiting right now. I think she could be a 59, 58 trotter, which by definition alone is not really what we're after. We're more likely to qualify a racer once or twice, fully staked in New York, freshened up, brought back. There's no reason why everybody wouldn't in New York wouldn't be interested in a filly like this to beat around the fairs, but it is important that I don't know if we can pay her into the fairs because we didn't last year. I have to check that out. Anyway, right now it is extremely important that we fill those roles if we can. So Locatelli, Resolute Bay, White Tiger, and I can go on and on. Good as him, absolute euphoria. There's 5, 6, 7, 8 horses that we have a void to fill. Now, if we buy 3 really quality horses, that would fill that void, I believe. And that's why that Meadowlands sale was so important, and that's why this sale coming up is so important. And I appreciate the 52 or 53 of you that have messaged me about getting involved. Those people will get first crack at the horses we buy, because again, it is a sale. I am going to a sale on Monday. We are all going to see the entries on Friday together, and I'll be looking at that sale very seriously on Monday. I expect there to be 25, 35, 40 horses in that sale on Monday, and if we can pick up 1, 2, or even 3 of them, that would make, and these horses would have to make almost an immediate impact. If we could do that, that would be exactly what we need, right? Now, if this sale wasn't canceled and White Tiger, and we bought 3 horses yesterday at the Meadowlands sale, and White Tiger was, made the break, and Resolute Bay made a break, Locatelli got burned up on Sunday, you'd be like, it's not a big deal. Just give them a little break. We got these 3 new horses. We're going to race them, qualify them, get them in to go, and away we go. Well, we didn't get them yet. So that is why the sale on Monday is so, so, so important. My job today, I got some housekeeping stuff. I got to get some information to our accountant and our bookkeeper and blah, blah, blah. Just stuff that I hate, and most of you would hate also. But my job for today also is to look at what horses need to be moved around. A new wrinkle to the stable overall, our entire big tent stable, is the fact that we only have a certain allotted amount of stalls here. We do have some horses. Crantini is slated to come back in. Today would be a good day to bring him back in because it's raining and muddy. So Crantini can come back in. Red Overbach can come back in today. I think there's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 horses and not as many stalls here. I'm toying with the idea of bringing Dustin Hanover home upon Jason's recommendation. But I do want to make sure that we have appropriate amount of staff in Ohio. Our guys have come such a long way and done such a great job in Ohio. I don't want to overload them, but at the same token, at least for the next 3-4 weeks, there's going to be a couple of stalls empty in Harrisburg. There's going to be 1 stall over there. We have 2 to come in. If we need extra stalls to bring horses in, especially after a Monday sale, where do those horses go? What horses are we potentially looking at putting up for sale? That also is a factor of what we're doing. So a lot going on today in my mind. And I need to keep everything straight. So I got a list, a to-do list on my phone today of things I need to get through. So in a short recap, because it's been 24 minutes, I thought I'd shorten that 20-minute video. I did. I made it 24. Getting over a pretty painful Sunday. No damage done overall to those horses. Maybe more to my ego than there was to the horses. The Resolute Bay break last night was I think just as Harry alluded to too, he was probably getting really close to having some bet work done. I was letting him coast over to the left. The last time he made a break is when James forced him to the left, going up the inside that night. He was going to win and made a break. So rather than just do the maintenance and continue on our way, we're going to give him a couple 3 weeks off. There's money right there. Looks like money going out the jog. So we're going to give a couple 3 weeks off to Locatelli, White Tiger, Resolute Bay. No Free Lunch is going to get 4, maybe 5 weeks off. As I said to Harry, probably put platelets in that area just to make sure that he's healing properly, and then give him some swimming. It's as simple as this. Give him some swimming, continue to work hard on the leg. When you put the ultrasound on it and there's no more dark area there, you're good to go. It's as simple as that. So I wanted to clarify the no free lunch issue, because a number of people, both my partners in the horse and people that are not, wanted to know. I wanted to solidify and clarify what we're doing with Locatelli, White Tiger, Resolute Bay, and now no free lunch. And I also wanted to speak to everybody about what our plans are to fill that void if we can, and that is and will revolve around heavily the Monday sale at that will be going on and Preferred online. So those entries will be up on Friday. We'll all see them together. There won't be a ton of horses to go through. I hope. There's only 10 the other day, but I suspect there'll be closer to 40 this week. And if there are 40 horses offered up for sale on the Preferred sale, it would be nice to bring home 2 or 3 of those that can, again, make an immediate impact at thestable.ca. So there. Now you're all up to date on what's going on today. Tonight we have Yes. Tomorrow we have Kings County, a number of other horses racing, Silent Assassin qualifying. I'll be back here Thursday to drive my 1%, Matt's MVP. A lot of people asking, where's James? He's going on vacation. I would say a well-deserved one. Stay Close last night, didn't touch on him. I thought he was really good. What you see with Stay Close is not a horse that's tired, weak, or can't do. You're seeing a horse transforming. Yes, he's 5, 6? But he missed a big chunk of his childhood because he got injured. This is a horse that needed the hobbles very, very tight to function well before. Now we have them on loose, and I disagreed vehemently last week with James when he said he can go without them on. I thought there was no possible way he can. After driving him last night, I actually agree with James. I think that Stay Close can race without hobbles on. Now, will he in the very near future? Maybe. We'll see. But I would now pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. When you take the hobbles off a horse, it takes a little time for them to get their legs underneath them, so to speak, for them to be in a place where they're comfortable and happy racing without hobbles and strong enough to make an immediate impact. This is a horse that took a mark of 152-1 last year. So for the people out there saying, just leave the hobbles on him, he was good before. You don't understand, right? It sounds good, but it's not how it works. The horse is a different horse now. He doesn't wear the hobbles tight. In fact, they work against him, and he's very frustrated with them on tight. We had them out very long last night, and I do believe he can go without them. It will take a little time, so what I'm going to ask you, again, pay very close attention to what I'm going to say. A little patience for about 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 starts with this horse while we get him hung up, the new Stay Close, while we get him hung up and racing forward. For those of you who don't like that, and I'm not saying, hey, he'll get no money for 8 starts. That's not what I'm saying. The horse won last week and raced okay last night, and I think he'll race better in the future. For those of you who don't want to be a part of watching this horse transform and not wear hobbles and get what I think will be into a better horse even, then fine. You guys can sell your shares. But for those of you out there curious about what I'm talking about and interested in what that looks like, hey, there's the big girl, and interested in what that looks like, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with Stay Close. I think you are witnessing a rebirth, so to speak, of a horse that I think is a pretty nice horse. Was sound happy after the race, and as I said, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this guy. So with that, I see there's a couple of people congregating at the door waiting for me to come over and say, that's enough for today. I'm going to let them sweat it for a minute. I'm going to sit over here, watch these last couple of horses jog, which could be the last couple of horses of the day by the looks of the rain here. We will see how that plays out, and then I will get to doing my to-do list. I'm sorry about turning a 20-minute video into 29, but I do think this is a better one. So as I said, Horses are good. Injuries will heal quickly. I want to keep an eye on what's going on in our barn. I think the biggest problem with what's going on right now is simply the track conditions. Nobody's fault, because that's Mother Nature. But we do have to take a serious look at it, protect our horses, and make sure that if there's bumps or bruises, especially this time of year on this track, we make sure that they're gone away before we really drop the hammer again. So, looking to move out for 3-4 weeks, and in one case 5, No Free Lunch, Locatelli, White Tiger, and Resolute Bay. Coming in will be some horses out of the field, Red Overbach, notably Crantini, and a couple of others. And most importantly, the sale on Monday, 6 days from now, for Preferred Online. I expect to pick up 2 or 3 horses, and we've already put together a fairly substantial group of interested people. Welcome to grow that list. As I said, those people will get first come, first serve, first service treatment when it comes to who we bought, who we're looking at, and what we're going to do moving forward. So if you want to be on that list, drop me a line. The sale entries will be up Friday at 10 a.m. Take care, everybody. Have a dry day. Bye.